Hello, and welcome to my presentation on a genre that may be considered for addition to a library's collection. A graphic novel is a story presented in comic strip format and published as a book, and the specific field this presentation focuses on is Marvel Comics. Marvel Comics is one of the big two publishers in the comic industry, the other being DC Comics. It began with its precursor Timely Comics, founded by Martin Goodman, releasing its first comic in October 1939. This book and the ones to follow featured superheroes like the Human Torch and the Submariner. In 1951, Timely Comics became Atlas Magazines and began to focus more on other genres of comics. But superheroes made a comeback in 1956 as Atlas became Marvel Comics. A whole superhero universe was introduced with 1961's release of the Fantastic Four, the story of four adventurers who'd been changed by cosmic rays into Mr. Fantastic, the Invisible Girl, the Second Human Torch, and the ever-loving Blue-Eyed Thing. These are some of the classics that started popping out after the Fantastic Four. The Man in the Ant-Hill told of scientist Hank Pym, whose experiment shrank him down to the size of a bug, and would later use this to become the hero Ant-Man. The Incredible Hulk was about Bruce Banner's exposure to gamma radiation, transforming him into something more monstrous. Then we got The Amazing Spider-Man, an unlucky high schooler Peter Parker who got superpowers and a lesson in responsibility. The hits just came coming. A story and journey into mystery showed us a crippled doctor, Donald Blake, finding a walking stick that transformed him into Thor, the Norse god of thunder. Then came Iron Man, as genius playboy Tony Stark creates a suit of armor that both saves his life and changes it forever. The X-Men told of a team of mutants born with powers, fighting to save the day even when mutants were feared. Stan Lee, one of the people who started it all, was Marvel Comics' creative leader for 2 decades until the 90s, and sadly passed away in the year 2018. As he once said, "I used to be embarrassed because I was just a comic book writer, while other people were building bridges or going on to medical careers. And then I began to realize, entertainment is one of the most important things in people's lives. Without it, they might go off the deep end. I feel that if you're able to entertain people, you're doing a good thing." A look at previewsworld.com tells a few tidbits from January 2020. At the beginning of this year, Marvel Comics' retail market share had been 39.98%, and its unit market share was 46.67%. During that month, a total of 100 comics and 56 graphic novels were shipped. The Eisner Awards are given to the best among American comics, and as of the year 2020, several Marvel titles have won awards in multiple categories, from types of series to writers to artists to even lettering. A couple of these titles have even won more than one award this year alone. Here's a look at the best-selling graphic novels from Marvel Comics according to Barnes & Noble. Some might already be familiar, featuring 2 different Spider-Men as well as today's X-Men. A couple feature other heroes like the Black Panther and Ms. Marvel. Others are conflicts involving multiple heroes, like in Civil War and the Infinity Gauntlet. There's even a more horror-themed book in which Deadpool, a fourth-wall-breaking comic relief character, goes a different kind of nuts and decides to, as the title says, kill the entire Marvel Universe. Here are just a sample of reviews of the aforementioned bestsellers. One comes from LJ Express Reviews, while the other 2 listed are anonymous reviews on the Barnes & Noble website. In making this presentation, the Barnes & Noble website was used. This same site could quite possibly be used as a tool for adding these items to a library collection. Not only books, but other forms of media from Marvel Comics can be found here, with listed prices and intended ages. Here are a few other sites that might be useful for a collection. The Complete Marvel Reading Order, Eisner Award-winning Marvel comic books, Where to Start with Marvel Comics in 2020, Marvel Must-Reads, and Amazon's list of Marvel Comics bestsellers. That first site especially is useful for those who want the details of individual comics. It lists them all based on characters, universe, settings, etc., while picking out some as essential reading for those who want to jump in without having to read every single issue. And here is a list of all the references used to create this presentation.